Well, good evening. This is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 18th of October, and a very pleasant day we had today. I hope you had a great day. So this is the front page of the Sun today. It says trick or cheat, and the woman in the picture is of course Kathleen Wynne, and this is about a very deceitful plan that the Liberals had come up with to keep money deliberately off books. But now this is 2017, of course, so before I go any further, I just want to cut in a little piece here, which will be a backdrop from the Auditor General's report from 2014 and comments from 2015, and you'll see that little has changed. Okay, Ontario's $1.9 billion smart meter program for hydro utilities has delivered few benefits for the hefty cost, says Auditor General Bonnie Lysyk. In fact, 1 in 6 of the 4.8 million meters have not yet transmitted any readings, and based on a $2 billion investment, there doesn't seem to be $2 billion worth of value coming yet. Energy Minister Bob Chiarelli sharply disputed Lysyk's findings and suggested she doesn't understand the electricity system, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to show you another little clip in a second about that. The Auditor General estimates the total costs are not accurate, Chiarelli told reporters. Lysyk also took a roundhouse swing at the province for plunging into the system without proper planning and making it impossible for consumers to understand their rising hydro bills. Okay, among her findings, smart meters were supposed to cost $1 billion. In fact, the total cost will be double that amount. The Energy Ministry grossly overestimated the benefits of the smart meter program. It figured net benefit would be $600 million over 15 years, but it forgot to include a yearly inflationary increase of $50 million. That reduces the net benefit of a huge project to $88 million over 15 years. The cost of smart meters varied wildly among Ontario's 73 local utilities, which paid from a low of $88 per metre to a high of $544. Energy bureaucrats have bamboozled consumers for years by lumping the true cost of energy in a catch-all fee called the Global Adjustment that now makes up the majority of the cost of energy. Lysyk said neither the Energy Ministry nor the Ontario Energy Board, which is supposed to protect ratepayers, okay, I'll repeat that, which is supposed to protect ratepayers, did a cost-benefit analysis of smart meters before plunging ahead with the program, first estimated in 2005 to cost $1 billion. Given the large scale of smart metering and the high risk associated with new technology, its implementation should have warranted strong governance and oversight. The costs continue to rise and stood at $1.4 billion at the end of 2013. In addition, the Independent Electricity System Operator, IESO, which operates the Ontario power grid minute by minute, spent $249 million on a provincial data centre to collect the torrent of information that flows out of smart meters. The cost is billed to ratepayers. But Lysyk found that in many instances the centre duplicates the data collected by many utilities. The IESO responds in the report that there is no duplication because it has exclusive authority over the function performed by the centre. At a news conference, Chiarelli accused Lysyk of doing sloppy accounting in adding up the cost of smart meters and coming to nearly $2 billion. In her report, Lysyk also challenged the claim that smart meters save money. Smart meters send data by electronic signal, so meter readers are no longer required. But Lysyk said that only 5% of utility reported savings. The others said their costs were the same or higher. Lysyk wrote it's difficult for consumers to even understand their bills. But she goes on to say here that Lysyk estimates consumers will pay $50 billion in global adjustment fees in the period from 2006 to 2015. Enough to cover the 2014 provincial deficit 5 times. She also slams the province for increasing the supply of electricity beyond what the province needs. Ontario has always exported some power, but exports grew 158% between 2006 to 2013. The problem is that the electricity is usually sold at a steep loss. The total cost of producing exported power was about $2.6 billion, more than the revenue Ontario received from exporting that power. The losses are made up for, pretend to look surprised, Ontario ratepayers through the Global Adjustment Fee. Okay, so as it says here, the costs of all those contracts are now rolled into a single opaque ball and charged back to customers through a fee called the Global Adjustment. This now makes up about 70% of the energy charge on hydro bills. The Sun now, Ontarian zapped by Bob Shirelli. Ontario Minister Bob Shirelli is the Joe Biden of Ontario politics. He's the walking punchline of the Ontario cabinet. You never know what he's going to say, and when he says it, you don't know whether to laugh or cry. Upset about the fact that the Liberals wasted up to $1.1 billion in the gas plant scandal, according to the Auditor General of Ontario? Don't worry, says Shirelli, it's less than the cost of a cup of Tim Hortons coffee on the average consumer's annual hydro bill for the next 20 years. And he goes on to say, has Shirelli already forgotten that when Lysick released her report just 3 months ago, he claimed she didn't understand the electricity file because it was complicated, even though Lysick is a former executive of Manitoba Hydro, and Shirelli was a lawyer before entering politics, and actually he's never been anything else since then but a politician. I'm not even sure if he actually practiced law, but he seems to have gone from political appointment to chairs of committees, to being a mayor or being a minister. So there you go. This is a little backdrop to the new Auditor General reports, which basically makes the same statements. So, okay, let's get back to that report that just came out today from the Auditor General. Okay, so now you understand where this is all coming from, and here is the inside piece. So they broke every rule in the book, and basically what has happened, because of all of these basically green plans being put into place and overproduction of hydro by Hydro One, bills have just gone through the roof. Oh, and of course the implementation of smart meters without an opt-out, I may add. We were never asked if we wanted to have these radiation spewing, spying devices on the side of our buildings, but there you go, we got them anyways. And as you heard in the last little piece, you know, the cost is absolutely staggering to install these things. And so anyway, what they did was they saw public revolt at hand and said, okay, let's reduce the bills by 25%. So how are they going to do that? Well, good question. They are going to borrow the money, okay, and it's going to be off books. Okay, they actually changed their accounting principles from Canadian accepted accounting principles to American accepted accounting principles so they could hide. You see, Canadian accounting principles do not allow the government to do this, but American principles do. And so basically they have borrowed about $39 billion over 30 years from an outside source, and basically kept us completely off books. So this means, because instead of borrowing the money through OPG, Ontario Power Generation, at lower rates, they've had to pay a higher rate. This will lead to $4 billion in extra costs for Ontarian ratepayers over the next 30 years, which is a staggering amount when, you know, they're crying poor on healthcare and all kinds of, you know, needed services for the public. So basically what this means is that all of the accounting practices now of the government are suspect. If they can change the rules on a dime like this, then they can basically do anything they want, which gives them a carte blanche, basically. And so I am absolutely, what can I say? This Liberal government is the worst government I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody so bald-faced deceitfulness taking place here. It's absolutely staggering. I mean, they don't even try to hide it anymore. You know, they come up with these platitudes when we can see the real truth in front of our very eyes, that we are being duped. Even the sale of hydro. This is a wholly public-owned asset. Who gave this government permission? Not even a referendum. This is our asset. To sell that off, to decide to put that onto the public auction block and sell off 66%, lose control of the utility. Are you kidding me? Completely mismanaged. Okay, and I think we need to start paying attention to this, because this is costing us big bucks. You know, they're talking about you know, water under the bridge and all this kind of stuff, and oh yeah, let's just fluff it off. But this is real dollars in real terms. We see the real effects. To have a global adjustment charge of 70% of your hydro bill is absolutely staggering, and it's sort of become this sort of gaping maw, you know, that you can just throw money into and debt into, and it just gets added onto the bill and amortized over the total cost, the total usership. And this is building more and more and more. Okay, people are retiring earlier, pensions are getting larger, more and more people are in the Sunshine Club, more and more money is required. I hasten to remind you, about 3 years ago, Hydro One made an application to the Ontario Energy Board for an increase in hydro rates because they had a shortfall on their pension funds that year. Thankfully they were turned down, but you can see that they're prepared to make that application. They're prepared to make their mistakes on accounting, get involved in poor negotiation, okay, and basically sell the baby with the bathwater, and then step back and go, okay, let's make the consumer pay. There's no real interest increase in rates for hydro. These are all artificial. I know somebody who is the manager down at OPG, a senior manager, okay, and he tells me that they are producing hydro for 3 cents a kilowatt hour, period, and making money at that to cover all of their business expenses and have money left over to invest. So if they can do that for 3 cents a kilowatt hour, what the heck are we paying 18, 19, 20 cents a kilowatt hour for? This is absolutely incredible, and I don't know, oh here it is right here. I don't know if you get one of these in the mail, one of these insulting little pamphlets. Okay, this is my energy consumption compared to my neighbours. Well, I heat with wood, basically wood and propane. I use very little hydro. I go to work every day, and really all I have on, like right now, are lights and the computer. There is nothing running. My hot water tank switches off automatically at midnight, that kind of stuff. And here wouldn't you just know it, I'm right in the middle. I have more efficient neighbours who heat with hydro, okay, are retired, they're at home all day long, and yet somehow, miraculously, there are neighbours that are better than I am, and of course there are average neighbours which are a little bit higher than I am. So this little scrap of paper with this printing on it, I bet you by the time it gets into my hands, my hot little hands, we're looking at about a $3 charge for that piece of paper. that goes into the global adjustment charge, and they call it staying connected with the customer. But you know, I can go onto the website. I don't need to have a piece of paper coming to me every month telling me, and with little advertisements in now, you know, NSave guides, refrigerators and so on and so forth. Pretty soon they will be offering me you know, cheap interest to buy through my hydro bill and just pay in easy to pay monthly installments. Anyway, Liberal government, I don't know, I'm just shaking my head at the behaviour that I'm seeing actually by all levels of government right now, which is a complete disrespect for the public. And that is why we need direct democracy. Okay, so this is Hound Dog Steve signing off. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and please remember to like and subscribe. Click on that little bell so you can get any updates that come along, and we will talk soon. So you have yourself a great week and take care. See you now.